Greetings from the hospitality state. We're going on yet another road trip, so I thought I would tackle the subject of fuel mileage one more time. It's often talked about, so let's get into it. All right, so let me give you a little background. We are in a fully laden vehicle. We have 3 adults, one grandbaby, and all the stuff to go on a long road trip. You can't get another single thing in the back of this vehicle, I don't believe. We do not have anything on top, and we do not have anything hanging off the back. So the test is to see what kind of fuel economy we can get. When we started, I believe the fuel economy, I have a screenshot of it, was I think it was 24.5 miles per gallon, which is our normal average, which was mixed city and highway driving. And just before we got on the interstate to head out on this trip, I reset it. And currently, we are at 25.7 miles per gallon, and that's strictly interstate driving. Also key to note is we are in a 2021 Toyota Highlander with 58,455 miles. It is the V6, and it is running correctly. It is coming due for a set of plugs, and I wanted to do the test just prior to installing the spark plugs to see if it makes a difference. And our route ended up taking us through windy, curvy, hilly, lots of what we call down here mountains. It's pretty good hills and foothills of mountains is what I would say. So we weren't able to maintain like continuous 73 to 75 miles an hour like I had. We ranged between about 45 up to about 65, coming through towns, having to stop. So that is where we are at the moment, is 25.5 miles per gallon. So do you think that's actually good, or do you think it should do better? Personal opinion, it's pretty good. All right, so we're on a family vacation here with Grumps, and we're here having, like I said, a family gathering. We're up at the beautiful Smith Lake in North Alabama, and gathering, eating too much, and like I said, we started this video out talking about fuel economy, and Gramps and I have been sitting around talking about it a little bit. And what did you just recently buy?
2008 Nissan Pathfinder 4.0 engine, 6-cylinder.
And what kind of fuel economy did you get on the interstate on the way up here?
21.9 miles. I called it 22. I mean, it's within 1/10. Could have probably got that at 22, but that's what it's rated for by the EPA, was 22 miles per gallon. I got 21.9, driving with the cruise on, and tried to keep it right at 70 miles, between 65 and 70 miles per hour. No faster.
And it has how many miles on it?
224,600, I think.
Right. So it's pretty amazing that you got a vehicle that is, let's see, that the vehicle is 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And is still getting exactly what it was advertised to get. Somebody apparently has taken decent care of this vehicle in order for it, because you bought it, last week?
Tuesday.
Right, and then now he felt comfortable enough to get in it and take it on a 4-hour road trip in one direction. The only thing you did to it was put a set of tires on it and look it over and take off, basically.
Yeah.
Now, back to the 21 Highlander. Earlier in the video we talked about how I had gotten, I think I was, at one point on the interstate, I was getting 26 miles to the gallon. And I have, on the interstate, on longer extended runs, I have gotten up to 30 miles to the gallon. And the EPA rating on the Toyota Highlander is actually 29 miles to the gallon, estimated interstate, all interstate driving. So I think it's key that what we need to talk about is what are your factors in getting the better fuel economy. And what was some of the stuff that we talked about? I had thought about talking about, and we haven't actually talked about yet, but I mentioned earlier in the video, spark plugs, making sure your vehicle's staying in tune, air filters,
Mm-hmm.
and what was the most important thing that we said affects your fuel economy?
Your right foot is what has the biggest effect on it, is how jackrabbit starts and driving excessive highway speeds, all that matters. When they take them out and do, I do know that when they do the fuel economy test, they do drive them easy and they do drive them at the optimal speed. They got a calculation of, if I drive 62 miles an hour, this car should get, like the old Camry we got, it's 4-speed Camry, 3-speed automatic with overdrive, 98 miles, 180,000 miles. I can drive it 62 miles an hour and get 32 miles to the gallon all day, every day. And that's what keeps it going, is at that optimal amount. And I never got any more than that, but that was more than what they said. I think the 98 was supposed to get around 30 miles a gallon. Well, I can get 32 out of it if I drive it right. Like I got a egg under the accelerator pedal.
Right, and that was one of the things that we had mentioned. You drive like you have an egg that you're afraid to break underneath the gas pedal. Because I see a lot of conversations and I see a lot of talk about people talking about, well, if I run mid-grade or if I run mid-grade or if I run premium fuel, I get so much more. No, that's anecdotal. I'm gonna have to see an actual test on that to see if premium fuel actually would make a difference in my 21 Highlander. My 21 Highlander calls from Toyota to run 87. It's not a high performance engine. It's not like I'm running the new Supra with the BMW inline 6 that requires the premium 91 and up fuel. So I've never seen octane rating make a difference in fuel economy. Have you ever known that it's the octane rating that really?
No, but I can say that I'm reading what little bit I have read on the owner's manual on this Nissan, that it does, said for the optimal performance. It didn't say anything optimal fuel economy or any of that. It says optimal performance to use 93 octane for the optimal. But as far as me experiencing the advantage to having premium gas, no. I run most of mine's on 87 and sometimes 89. If I'm going out on the road for a 5 or 6 hour trip, I'll put 89 in it. But I have not noticed any fuel economy difference.
And one of the other things, let's go ahead and a myth we can dispel with premium, regular, mid-grade, and premium is the quality of the fuel. Quality of fuel between regular to premium is exactly the same as far as the quality. It is in the chemical composition of that fuel, and like as you just said, and in how it performs. I would say if you had a heavily laden vehicle and you were really going to drive it at high speeds and you were really pushing the vehicle and you were trying to get the optimal performance out of your vehicle, you might see some improvements with 93 in performance. But if you're really pushing a vehicle, it doesn't matter what kind of fuel you put in it, it's going to use that fuel. Correct?
Yep. I had that. I still got that old 5.7 GMC 2000 year model, and you get about 12 miles to the gallon just normally. And I was pulling a 32-foot camper with it at some time a while ago, and it would go down to 8 or 9, and it didn't matter what you had in it, 8 or 9 pulling that 32-foot camper. That's all you're going to get. So you just well figured on, every 150 miles seemed like you stopped putting gas in it, and you was towing that.
And what did that camper weigh? It was a little
10,000 pounds.
I'll say right at 10,000 pounds, and that probably wasn't even accounting for all the camping equipment and gear that was in it. That's just a camper of 10,000 pounds.
Right. Didn't count nobody riding with me or any of the other extraneous stuff you take when you go camping.
Oh, all the stuff that's in the bed of the truck.
Yeah.
Well, he did tell me he did figure out a way to get closer to 15 miles to the gallon with that truck, but it required that you put it on the back of a flatbed and tow it. So That's how you get 15 miles to the gallon. That's the only way you get it with that truck. So, in review, if you're going to try to get better gas mileage, it's pretty much going to come down, and it's going to be up to the individual driver. All these gadgets and all the witchcraft and stuff people want to sell you to try to get better fuel economy is pretty much garbage, I would say.
As far as fuel and octane boost and to get it better economy, fuel economy, more miles per gallon, I've not seen it. I have seen some stuff that with performance enhancers, additives. Hot Shot Secret seems to be pretty good. Not a sponsor, just some product I've used and felt like it was doing some good as far as what they advertise. But they don't advertise it as a fuel economy improver. It's a performance improver.
Right.
But nothing the most important thing you do is have a light foot. You know, and try not to drive just because it says 80 miles an hour or 75 miles an hour.
And some places out in Utah and Texas, 85.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't drive 85 out there, they might run over you.
This is true.
But
all right, so that has answered, hopefully, from a couple of mechanics, the questions on fuel economy and what you can do to improve it. First off, you start off with a vehicle that gets good fuel economy, and then you drive that vehicle like you're trying to get good fuel economy. Slow down. Don't try to drag race off of every light that you take off from, and keep your vehicle serviced. The spark plugs, air filters, keep your tires inflation up to where they're supposed to be. That's going to be your biggest improvers on fuel economy.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Tire pressure.
We forgot to mention that one. So you can see we made it back home. I did not reset it, and it is 25.2 miles per gallon. And you can also see we're within about 100 miles of needing to do the oil change. And 25 miles per gallon average on the kind of driving that we did was not that terrible. All the up and down, and then we had to cut through cities, small towns, and back roads and hills and up and down. That's actually pretty good for a V6 Highlander. All right, so it's time for us to get back in here and enjoy some family time and get something else to eat yet again. We do a lot of that when we're together, don't we?
Yep. Too much of it.
But that's part of it. Enjoying each other and eating good food. So until next time, why don't you go out and watch another video coming on the screen right now.